Today, Bitcoin inches closer to $70,000 to kick off the week. We bring you highlights from former President Trump's speech at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee over the weekend. And California Congressman Khanna sheds light on the Democrats' stance on digital assets from the crypto conference. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Major cryptocurrencies in the green to kick off the final week of July trading, with Bitcoin nearing $70,000 as investors digest a batch of political developments that took place over the weekend and as they look ahead to central bank meetings in the coming days. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin eked out a less than 1% gain, trading above $68,000. Ether climbed more than 1% to the $3,300 level, and Solana jumped 1.5%. The moves higher come as traders are watching the Federal Reserve, Bank of Japan, and the Bank of England, all of which are meeting this week. Eyes are on Fed Chair Jerome Powell in particular, with hope his comments will confirm a rate cut in September. Investors are also digesting Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's highly anticipated speech at the crypto conference Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, which he delivered Saturday. He took aim at Democratic lawmakers, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and the Biden administration at large. The former president blamed them for the ways he said they've held back and even harmed the crypto industry. Bitcoin's price dipped about 1% during Trump's speech, but climbed back into the green shortly after. Okay, let's talk more about Trump's appearance at Bitcoin 2024 as we take a look at our top stories. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sagalos was there and brings us the highlights as well as other political developments from the crypto conference.
So here on the ground of Bitcoin 2024, former President Donald Trump just took the stage to lay out his vision for what a second Trump administration would mean for the crypto industry. The one that got the most applause, Trump said that he'll get rid of SEC Chair Gary Gensler.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. Wow. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa.
Although that's something the president doesn't have the authority to do. Now, the other thing Trump said, and this is the big announcement, is that the U.S. should take the hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin seized in legal actions and put it into a strategic Bitcoin stockpile, something that he said would cement the token's place as a permanent national asset.
The federal government has almost 210,000 Bitcoin, or 1% of the total supply that will ever exist. But for too long, our government has violated the cardinal rule that every Bitcoiner knows by heart: never sell your Bitcoin, right? Today, I am announcing that if I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%.
This actually coincides with an announcement from Cynthia Lummis, too. The senator from Wyoming is introducing a bill that would direct the U.S. to add to that reserve, up to 1 million Bitcoin. That's worth roughly $68 billion at today's prices. Now, Trump really tried to drill home that he believes his administration will be much friendlier to crypto than one led by Vice President Kamala Harris. I spoke to North Carolina Congressman Wiley Nickel, one of the few Democratic lawmakers to come here, and he pushed back on the idea that Democrats can't lead on crypto regulation.
The important work is actually getting things done, and if it becomes a partisan political football, the voices, like you mentioned, on the far left are going to continue to push for Democrats. I don't want that to happen. I want to keep this as a bipartisan issue. I don't want Donald Trump to politicize this issue. It's like politicizing the internet.
Now, after Trump's address, we caught up with some people in the crowd, and here's what they thought about the promises that he made to the crypto industry.
In full transparency, I feel that there's always more to be said on Bitcoin because it's self-sovereign money. I feel that the most ideal thing would be for Trump to come back for a second time and explain what he would do in terms of the tax regulations for Bitcoiners.
It was just too easy. It was way too easy. You need to understand regulatory frameworks before you get into Bitcoin.
Now, we reached out to the SEC for comment on Trump's speech over the weekend, but didn't hear back right away. crypto has become an issue of increasing interest in the upcoming U.S. presidential election. The Trump team is hoping the niche but growing crypto vote will help him get elected given key Democrats' hostility toward the space over the years. However, the industry has growing bipartisan support in Congress. On Friday, more than a dozen House Democrats and several more candidates for congressional seats signed a letter to the Democratic National Committee encouraging a forward-looking approach to crypto that would include adding pro-digital asset language to the party's platform and selecting an SEC chair that would foster innovation in crypto. Also over the weekend, the Financial Times reported that Vice President Kamala Harris's advisors are approaching crypto companies to reset relations between the Democratic Party and a sector that has come out as an important backer of Donald Trump. Also over the weekend, McKenzie spoke with California Congressman Khanna. The Democrat disclosed that he recently advised Harris's team about crypto.
Okay, so let's start with some news. You've got the FT reporting this morning that Kamala Harris, the vice president, has been setting up meetings with different members of the crypto contingent, different industry experts. Did you advise her on who to sit down with, or more generally, have you been speaking to her about crypto regulation?
I've advised her team. I mean, we had a roundtable with Anita Dunn that Mark Cuban and I hosted, and we said that we need to be the party of the future, the party of innovation. Bitcoin is about freedom. It's consistent with our agenda. It is used by people overseas who are dealing with authoritarian regimes. It was used by Navalny to be able to advocate for human rights. It's used against a hedge on inflation. And so our party should understand it, understand why it's important, understand why cryptocurrencies are important, and have sensible regulations about it.
And how has the vice president in particular, or her team more broadly, responded to the advice that you've been giving them on crypto?
Her team has been open, and we had this senior level meeting with Anita Dunn, and then we have more meetings with her team. And my hope is that they will make certain bold policies, that they will say, we support FIT 21, which many Democrats voted for, bipartisan bill. I worked with Patrick McHenry on it, to provide regulatory clarity. Here's what the SEC should do. Here's what the CFTC should do. Here's how we regulate it, but allow that innovation and jobs to stay in the United States. And they should overrule SAB 121. SAB 121 basically says that banks can't have custody of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies without declaring the liabilities. And it's a discriminatory law, and I think goes too far. But I think taking some concrete measures will show that our party is the party of the future and doesn't want to rest on our laurels, but wants the future of financial innovation here.
When do you think we might hear from the vice president on this issue?
Well, she's got a lot on her plate. She's got to pick a running mate. She's got to prepare for the convention. But my view is not just with the vice president, it's with the Democratic Party. I, with my colleagues, said that the DNC should have as our platform that we are the party of the future. We recognize Bitcoin is about freedom. We recognize cryptocurrency is decentralizing opportunity for Americans and for the world. And by the way, we aren't an isolationist party. We want to make sure that we're dealing with people around the world. Well, around the world, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is very popular, so America should lead in it.
Last question on the presidential race. I've been speaking to people on the ground here, and they are skeptical that the vice president could pivot to a softer approach to regulating the crypto space given the tenure of the Biden administration. What would you say to people who are worried about what crypto looks like under President Harris?
It's not about softer or more, it's about smart regulation. We need the type of regulation in FIT 21, which is here's what SEC is going to do, here's what CFTC is going to do, but we want Bitcoin here, we want cryptocurrencies here. And what I would say is look to a younger generation of Democrats, people like me, Wally Nichols who's here, Richie Torres, Josh Gottheimer, Darren Soto. We're pushing this party to be the party of the future and party of innovation.
Now, you mentioned that you're joined by Representative Nickel here at this event. We are seeing more senators, more congressmen involved than ever before at Bitcoin, this annual conference. And my question to you is, are you lonely? There are just two of you here, and there are the vast majority of lawmakers who have joined us are Republicans. And why did you join us, and why aren't more of you at this event?
I joined because I was invited, and they liked some of my advocacy, but I don't understand why it's partisan. Being against Bitcoin is like being against cell phones. It's like being against AI. It's like being against laptops. It's a technology. Have thoughtful regulation on the technology, but it's a technology that is appreciated from about $10,000 to $80,000. You have people like Michael Saylor, who's made billions of dollars on that appreciation. And I don't want all that value and wealth being made outside the United States. I want the United States to be part of that wealth generation, and for people who have assets to have that opportunity here and to have those jobs here. And that should be a bipartisan message.
And going back to a point that you made a moment ago, that it shouldn't be a softer approach, it should be a smarter approach. There was this open letter to the DNC asking for a softer approach on digital assets. What do you think of that letter?
Well, it was for a smarter approach on assets. It was the FIT 21, the Patrick McHenry bill says, here's what the SEC should be regulating. Here's what the CFTC should be regulating. Very few people are for pure libertarianism. It should be regulated, but there needs to be clarity. And the problem has been that there hasn't been that clarity, and it's been policy based on executive lawsuits. That's not how you make policy. We need to look at what Europe has done, what other countries have done. I mean, the Europeans have a clearer regulatory framework, and we should say that financial innovation is going to be here.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.